So, hopefully you can see me okay. So before we start, I just need to do the little spiel that I have to about the legalities of it. So just remember that there is always a risk of injury if you take part in any physical activity. So by continuing to watch me, you understand that you're taking that risk yourself. But all that aside, what I do want to say is that basically everybody needs to listen to their own body. Work at your own level, at whatever feels right for you today. Okay, so sometimes you feel you have a great day and sometimes you just don't have such a great day. So just listen to your body, work with what you've got. Don't push it. Everything you're doing is pain-free. So when you're ready, we're going to start. And the other thing I'm just going to say just at the beginning is I understand that I probably may overload you a little bit with so much information, but because we're not in the room together, I can't manually adjust you. So just, if you can, just use my voice as a cue. Try not to watch the screen so much. I don't want you to crank your neck or injure yourself in any way like that. And just trust yourself. You know the moves. So when you're ready, we're going to start with our feet together. Take a couple of nice deep breaths. Just let go of everything that's going on. Let go of the day thus far. And then politely put on hold anything you have left to do for the day. So just land in the moment. Take this time for you and your body. Be present, enjoy. And when you're ready, we're going to start rocking and rolling. Nice deep breath. As you exhale, bring your heels in a small triangle. Bring your toes in line with your heels. Ankles, knees, and hips are nicely aligned. And give your toes a little wiggle. Make sure they're really nicely splayed. And when you're ready, just gently rocking backwards and forwards, left to right. And I just want you to find a point where your weight is evenly distributed between your left and your right foot, and between the balls and the heels of the feet. So when you find that point, you're just going to keep it there. And soften through the knees. Try not to let them lock out. And then bring your hands up to your pelvis. So you can bring your hands, little triangle, either side of your hip bones or back and front. We're just doing little baby pelvic tilt. So just sending your tailbone down and then sending your pubic bone down. So just rolling through the pelvis just a couple of times. Just get a little bit of movement into that lower back. And then you're just going to end up with your tailbone slightly tucked under, and then you bring your hands to your side. Now I want you to think about lengthening upwards from the crown of the head. So making yourself as long and as tall as you can. Now also think about your posture. So your head is going to be directly over your rib cage. It's going to be directly over your pelvis. So it's quite easy to sort of lean back or forward like that. Just try and see if you can just go through that central plumb line, lifting up. So when you're ready, thinking about focusing your eyes on the horizon. I do it all the time looking at the floor. It's still there. So just keep looking in front of you. Chin is going to be parallel to the floor. Then we bring the shoulders right up to the ears. Squeeze them all the way back. And then gently sliding them down. So we're just going to do that a couple of times. Just think about creating some length between your shoulders and your ears. You're going to end up with your chest open and lifted. Nice wide collarbones. And your shoulder blades squeezing back together. Hands are going to be by your side. Now we think about our core. Big, big wide belt. So the muscles that wrap around you are called the transverse abdominals. So these are your deepest abdominal muscles. These are the ones that support you upright. Okay, they do all the work. So we're going to use these. So it's a big muscle that wraps all the way around. And I want you to imagine you're drawing them all in towards the midline. So tightening your belt, massively tightening to maximum intensity, notch number 10, holding it there. And then slowly with control, releasing it halfway to notch number 5. And then down to notch number 3. And just see if you can keep that little bit of engagement, that little bit of awareness throughout the rest of this time we have together. And then we think about our pelvic floor. So the pelvic floor, the muscles, little hammock on the underside of your body that stops you from going for a wee. So take a nice deep breath. Inhale as you lengthen from the crown of the head. Exhale, see if you can squeeze and lift the pelvic floor just ever so slightly. So one more time, breathing in. You're allowing your body to expand. Exhale, squeeze and lift the pelvic floor. So when you're ready, hands are going to be by your side. Chest open and lifted. Take a deep breath and let the chin to the chest as you exhale. So stretching through the back of the neck. Inhale to come back. So please don't rush. It's nice and slow. So we're just going to do this a couple more times. Just get a nice little movement through the back of the neck. And then on the next one, if you want, you can just lift your chin slightly to the sky. Just check you're not crunching the back of the neck. Exhale as you nod the chin to the chest again. Keep the knees nice and soft, tailbone tucked under, and lift your chin up as you inhale. One last one. Exhaling, nodding the chin to the chest. Really keep the collarbones nice and wide, chest open and lifted. And then slowly lift your chin. And then when you're ready, bring your hands to your lower back. You can interlace behind the tail if that's more comfortable. Really opening up through the chest. Nice soft knees. Drop the chin to the chest and then start circling. Nice and slow and controlled. Again, as you bring your nose or your chin up to the sky, make sure you're not crunching the back of the neck. But really slow the movement down. Notice how your neck is reacting if you get some little sound effects. And then when you're ready, start going the other way. So reverse your circles. Nice, soft knees. Don't let them lock out. Tailbone is still lengthening down towards the ground. Chest is open and lifted. And a little bit of core engagement. So just awareness of that big muscle that wraps all the way around the body. And then when you're ready, we're okay. We're going to bring your hands to your shoulders. Nice deep breath as you bring your elbows together to kiss. Big stretch for your upper back. And then we go up, back, and round. So we're just going to do that a couple of times. Again, you might get some beautiful sound effects. I'm getting some crunches like you wouldn't believe. Lengthening still from the crown of the head. Tailbones lengthening down. And then we go the other way. We'll bring the elbows back. Big stretch through your upper chest, your pecs. And then as you bring the elbows together, you get the stretch in the opposite, so in the back. So we're just going to do that one more time, lengthening from the crown. Try and keep the gaze in front of you. And then when you're ready, we're going to stand nice and tall. Try and keep the upper body still, knees soft. Little figure of 8 with our pelvis. So nice and easy. Just working through the lower back again. And try just smile and breathe. It's all good. And then when you're ready, start reversing. So just getting a little bit of movement. Try and keep those knees really soft. Keep the gaze focused on the horizon. And then when you're ready, nice deep breath. You're going to float your arms up. So just check what's happened to your shoulders. So relax the shoulders. You're going to bring your hands to interlace. Palms are going to be facing your head. So relax your shoulders. Take a deep breath. Nice soft knees. Tailbone tucked under. We bump the hips to the left. Take the arms to the right. Come back to center. And we do the same on the other side. So you exhale as you bump the hips and the head. Nice side body stretch, then float the arms back down. We go again. You bring the arms up. This time you're going to interlace, but you're going to bring the palms upwards. Check what's happened to your shoulders here. So nice space between your shoulders and your ears. Cores engaged. Soft knees. Tailbone tucked under. Exhale as you bump the hips to the side. Feel that lovely stretch from armpit to hip. Come back to center. Same on the other side. Nice and slow. Try and keep the shoulders stacked so they're not rotating. And then slowly slide. One more to go. This time you're going to keep your arms wide. So imagine you're holding a really big beach ball. So arms are nice and wide. Check your shoulders again. We don't want them up by the ears. Tail is lengthening down. You're lengthening upwards from the crown. Nice deep breath on the exhale. You bump to the side. Notice how this feels different. You have to use a little bit of core to stabilize, and we go the other way. Nice and slow. And then when you're ready, float the arms back down. We're coming into, we're going to do a little bit of rotation in a sort of squat position. So you're going to fold at the hips, sending your bottom out. You're lengthening from your crown to your tail. Chest is really open and lifted. And then think about your tummy. Don't let it just spill out. Just tuck your tailbone slightly under and draw everything in towards the midline. Nice deep breath on the exhale. You're going to straighten through your right leg as you slide your hand up to your hip and look over that shoulder. Inhale to come back. Same on the other side. So I'm just going to do this a couple of times. Getting a little rotation in the thoracic spine. And think about your shoulders. Make sure they're not creeping up to the ears. The chest is open and lifted. You've got length between your crown and your tail. You've just got one more set to go. So use the breath. Exhale as you rotate. Inhale as you come back. Same on the other side. That's your last one. And then when you're ready, we're going to do some lunges, okay? I know you want to do that. So when you're ready, excuse me, your right leg is going to go out. Your left leg is going to stay forward. You're now going to fold. So you're going to sort of lean forward. So if you look straight line from my crown to my hip to my heel. So nice and easy. All we're going to do is just bend and straighten the left leg. So we're just going to breathe here for a few moments. Now let's check what's going on with our posture. You've got a bit of core engagement, drawing everything in towards the midline. Your chest is open and lifted. Shoulders are relaxed. You should feel some length between your crown and your tail And you're now mobilizing through your hips and through your knees. You can do whatever you like with your hands. We're just going to do this for 5, for 4. Make sure you're breathing for 3, for 2, last one. And now you're going to start tapping the right foot forward. So you're just going to tap it forwards and send it back out. So as you're doing this, try not to dump all your weight or not to collapse into that left hip. So you're standing up and out of it. You're still leaning forwards. Excuse me. You've got your chest open and lifted. Shoulders are relaxed. You're doing this for 10. Yay, you've got it. For 9. Let's see how good my counting is. 8, 7. Make sure you're breathing. 6, 5. We're nearly there. 4. Smile for 3, 2, and then for 1. Well done, everyone. We're going to do the same on the other side now. So have a little, if you need to just pedal it out a moment. Send your left leg out. Right leg is forward. So before you start, lean. So you're leaning forwards. You've got a lovely straight line from your crown to your tail to your heel. Excuse me. So when you're ready, nice deep breath, you're just going to start bending and straightening the front leg. You're going to have a little bit of core. So drawing that big wide belt of muscles right in towards the midline. You're lengthening from crown to tail. Chest is open and lifted. Wide collarbone. So just try not to hunch. Really open up through the chest. Squeeze the shoulder blades back. And I think we'll do this for 5. For 4. We're nearly there for 3. Smile. For 2. And then for 1. And then you know what's coming. So you're just going to bring the back leg, the left leg is going to tap forwards. So you're going to start feeling quite a lot of heat building up in the legs, in the buttock. Try not to sink into this right hip. So sort of stand up and out of it. And try not to create tension. So just see what's happening with the rest of your face. If you're sort of pulling some faces, you're grinding your teeth, trying to soften that out for a few moments. And we're just doing this for 10. You've got this for 9, 8, breathe for 7, 6, 5, we're nearly there, 4, 3, smile, 2, and then 1. Woohoo. When you're ready, we're going to come back up. We're just going to do some hip openers, so just opening up through the hips. Again, notice if you've got some crunching going on. I have. And then when you're ready, one last one on each side. We're going to do some roll downs. So we're going to go to the end of our mat, standing nice and tall. Lengthening from the crown of the head, chest is open, lifted, shoulders are relaxed, tailbone's tucked under, nice soft knees and your feet are hip width apart. Take a deep breath. On the exhale, slowly nod your chin to your chest. Now start to scoop the abdominal, so draw everything in towards the midline. Allow your head and your hands to hang heavy and slowly, segmentally peel your spine. So take your time. If your lower back isn't feeling too happy today, you stop before it hurts. It's not a competition and go the furthest. When you've got your furthest point, just take a moment there. Now bend your knees generously. Now you've got the option of just swaying backwards and forwards, so maybe lifting the heels, maybe lifting the toes. You might want to walk your hands to the outer edge of your mat. You might want to clasp your elbows and rock side to side. Again, you can shake your head yes and no. Just release any tension you've got, but keep those knees really generously bent. Notice how the lower back's feeling. And breathe. When you're ready, just release the elbows. Take a deep breath. On the exhale, slowly, segmentally restack your spine. Really engage in your core to support the movement. And it's your shoulders, your neck, and your head coming up last. We're going to go down again. This time we're going to stay down. So standing nice and tall. Check that your posture hasn't changed. Tailbone tucked under, chest open, lifted. Take a deep breath, nod the chin to the chest. Start to scoop through the abdominals. Allow the head and the hands to hang heavy as you slowly, segmentally peel your spine. Again, no forcing anything. You're just working with what you've got. If this is your furthest point, fantastic. Just stay here and just allow the muscles to relax into the stretch. You're just going as far as your body allows. When you've got to that point, just take a moment there. Just let your head and hands hang like a rag doll and breathe. Keep the knees soft, engage your core. And then you've got the option, well, you've got 2 options here. So everyone needs to bend their knees to bring their hands to the floor. First option is to bend your knees and come into an extended child's pose. If not, you can start walking your hands forwards into a downward dog. So you choose whatever variation suits you best. So if you're going to walk forward into a downward dog, you're going to walk your hands as far forward as is comfortable for you. Then send your tailbone up towards the sky, as if you're bringing your chest to the tops of your thighs. And then you're going to turn your hands outwards. So index finger and thumb pointing towards the top end of your mat, little fingers towards the outer edge. So you've got an external rotation of your upper arms. Then turn your toes inwards. So big toes are sort of pointing in towards each other. Get an internal rotation of your thighs. Now really send that tailbone up towards the sky. And we're just going to stay here for a few moments breathing. Obviously, if you can have your knees bent and your heels raised depending on how tight you are. So just work with what you've got and breathe. Feel the chest and the shoulders opening up. Nice stretch to the lower back and to the backs of the legs. And then when you're ready, you're going to bend your knees to bring them down to the floor. Knees are going to come as wide as your mat and your big toes are going to be together. Now you're going to place your right hand, if you can, into the middle of your mat or your towel, whatever you're working with. Excuse me. Then with your left hand, you're going to pull a bow and arrow. So bring the elbow up towards the ceiling and then extend it up towards the sky. Now work again with what you've got. It might only come to here. You're working towards opening up through the chest. So just go as far as you comfortably can. And then maybe wiggle your fingers, relax your shoulders, make sure you've got a nice long neck. Take a deep breath and then slowly float the arm back down. We're swapping to the other side. Excuse me, left hand replaces the right. The right hand is going to pull the bow and arrow. Elbow comes up to the ceiling. Extend the fingertips. So just nice big chest opener. Again, just work with what you've got. Relax your shoulders. Maybe wiggle your fingers. Breathe. And then slowly bring the hands back down. Now we're going to walk our hands forward. So we're going to bring our hands really far forward and then send the hips back. Obviously, if you have a knee problem, please just keep your bottom up in the air. If not, you can just start sitting back on your heels. And then allow your head and your chest to grow heavy and come towards the floor. So take a moment here. Just breathe. Allow your chest to open. Allow your hips to open. And then when you're ready, start to walk your hands over to the right side of your mat or your towel. And you're going to get a lovely big stretch to the left side of the torso. If you want a little bit more, you can place your left hand on top of the right, just slightly intensifying that stretch. But if that's too much, just bring both hands side by side. Breathe there for a few moments. And then when you're ready, walk in to the left. Again, you're going to feel the stretch on the right side straight away. And if you want a little bit more, you can place your right hand on top of the left. Get a really nice side body stretch. Relax your shoulders though. Check they haven't come flying up to the ears. And breathe. And then when you're ready, we're going to come into a 4-point alien position. So, excuse me, knees are going to be underneath the hip points. Excuse me, rearranging myself. Wrists are going to be underneath the shoulders. Now, I'm going to be really particular about this. We're going to set ourselves up for greatness here. So, lengthening from your crown to your tail. Now, notice what's happening with your tummy. We don't want it spilling out. So, maybe tuck the tailbone slightly under and draw everything in towards the spine. Now, think about your neck as well. It's an extension of your spine. So we don't want it just sort of drooping down there. Keep the gaze on the mat or the floor just in front of your hands. So, that's just our setup. When you're ready, take your right leg out and your left hand forwards. Yeah. So just first of all, take a moment here just to stabilize. Make sure your weight is nicely evenly distributed between your right hand and your left leg. And then with the left hand and the right leg, we're going to draw a little either a rainbow or an arch as you bring it over to the midline. So coming out to the side, and then we come back again. So we're trying to work on stabilizing. So you're stabilizing the hips. You're working your core. You should really feel your tummy working here. We're also mobilizing through the shoulders and the hips. You're breathing any way that feels comfortable for you. And we're just going to do a little couple more taps. Just getting a little bit more heat coming into the body. If this is too much for you, you'll find to just slide to your start point and then out to the side again. Okay, so just work with what you've got. I'm just going to do 2 more if we can. Just keep breathing. So try and spread your weight nice and evenly. Keep the neck nice and long. Shoulders are away from the ears. This is your last one on this side. And then when you're ready, we're going to go to the other side. If you need to take your weight off of that wrist for a moment and just maybe little circles. And then when you're ready, coming back to your start position. So wrists are underneath your shoulders, knees are underneath your hip points. And then again, just notice if your tummy is starting to spill out. So just tuck that tailbone slightly under and engage your core. Left leg goes out, right arm goes up. Take a couple moments here just to get yourself settled. Make sure you're nicely balanced. When you're ready, you do little arches or rainbows as you go side to front, front to side. That's it, nice. So try and notice what's happening in the hip, the supporting hip. So try not to let all your weight go over to that right side. Try and keep the hips nice and stable. Notice how your tummy is reacting. Make sure you haven't just suddenly forgotten all about it and let it all hang out. Draw it all in towards the midline. You're breathing. We're doing 2 more. Remember, you've got the option just to slide along the floor if that's easier for you. And this one is going to be your last one. Well done, everyone. And then when you're ready, that looks surprisingly easy. And then when you try doing it, it's not. When you're ready, bring your elbows where your hands once were. You've got 2 parallel lines between your wrists and your elbows. Then start walking your knees back. So you're going to bring your head towards the floor. Now, what you want to try and maintain is the 2 parallel lines between your elbows and your wrists. I know it's hard. My elbows desperately want to fly out to the sides. See the best you can. See if you can maintain those 2 parallel lines. And maybe walk your knees out just a little bit more. And just breathe here for a few moments. You should be feeling a really big stretch through your chest and your shoulders. And maybe a little bit with the tummy. So your abdominals, so stretching the skin on the front of the body. So just hold that for a few moments. Breathe. And then when you're ready, start to shift your weight forwards as you come down onto your front. Yay, you're still with me. So when you're ready, we're just going to set ourselves up again. Okay, so I'm going to be very meticulous with this. Your feet are going to be hip width apart. The tops of the feet are going to press into your floor, to your mat. Now we're coming up towards the pelvis area. So this is the bit that's the key to this whole movement. You're going to very slightly tilt your pelvis. So tuck the tailbone under and press the pubic bone into the mat. Then I want you to imagine you have an ice cube under your belly button. So you don't want to be touching it. So you're just sort of lifting, drawing those muscles in towards you. Now you're going to lower your upper body down. So you're going to have your forehead resting on your hands. I hope you can still hear me. I might just reposition my mic, sorry. I hope that's a little bit better. So when you're ready, so pressing the pubic bone onto the mat, engaging your core, you're going to fold the right leg, the right knee. So the heels, soles of the feet are going to come towards the ceiling. Then from the hip, you're going to lift the thigh up slightly, and then we're releasing it all the way back down. We'll do the same on the left side. So fold, bending at the knee, soles of the foot come towards the ceiling. Then from the hip, you're just lifting and then lowering. So we're just going to alternate. What we're working here is the posterior chain. So we're working the lower back. We're strengthening through those muscles. We're also working through the glutes. Really important to stabilize. You have to have a nice strong bottom for a nice strong back to sit on top of. Yeah, so we're just working through that. Now, don't forget about your pelvis. Okay, so if you're feeling any pinching or any uncomfortableness in that lower back, just check yourselves. Just make sure that tilt of the pelvis, it's really very subtle. But the pelvic placement is everything. So press that pubic bone into the mat. Engage your core. And we're just going to do a couple more. And you might feel your bottom area, your hamstrings working, and then your lower back. It shouldn't be uncomfortable though. We're just going to do one more on each side, and then we're going to do little pulses. So when you're ready, nice and slow. So the feet are going to be up towards the ceiling, and now we're just going to lift and lower the thigh from the floor. We're just going to do this for 10. Smile, you've got this. For 9, 8, 7. Keep pressing that pubic bone into the mat. 6, 5. Relax your shoulders for 4. Make sure you're not creating tension elsewhere. 3, 2, and then 1. Well done. We'll do the same on the other side. So folding, bending at the knee. Check a nice posture. Tuck the tailbone under, and we're just lifting and lowering. We're just doing this for 10. We're just doing a little bit faster. Little baby pulses for 9, 8, 7. Relax your shoulders. 5, 4, 3. Make sure you're breathing. 2, and then 1, and then release it all the way back down. Well done, everyone. When you're ready, bringing your right hand by your side, flexing your right knee, and then with your hand reaching back for it. So coming into a little quad and hip flexor stretch. Please don't yank on that knee. If you can't reach your foot, you've got your sock, your trouser leg, or just the intention of reducing the space between the heel and the buttock. And then if you want a little bit more, again, same movement, tilt the pelvis, press the pubic bone into the mat, and you should feel the intensity of the stretch increase. But nobody should be feeling it in the knee. If you are, please release the hand straight away. You should be feeling it in the front of the thighs. So these are your quad muscles, and maybe a little bit of a hip flexor. Breathe. Release the hand down. You swap sides. Left hand is by your side, flexing the left knee, and then reaching back with your hand. Now, we've got some options, obviously. So, sock, trouser leg, or your foot you can grab, or just the intention of reducing the space between your heel and your buttock. But you don't need to force anything, and you certainly shouldn't be feeling it in the knee. If you want a little bit more, however, you can tilt your pelvis. It's very subtle. Tuck the tailbone under and press the pubic bone into the mat. Just breathe there for a few moments. Notice how that feels. And when you're ready, just release the leg back down. And we're coming back into 4-point kneeling. So just press your way back up. And again, we're going to set ourselves up for greatness. So wrists are going to be underneath the shoulders. Knees are going to be underneath the hip points. Lengthening from crown to tail, and then notice what's happening to your tummy. Is it just sort of spilling out? So tuck that tailbone slightly under. Relax your shoulders away from your ears. Maybe soften the elbows. Press the mat away from you. And then with the breath, you inhale as you drop the tummy. Open the chest, looks forwards. Tailbone comes up. Exhale, tailbone scoops under. Scoop into the abdominals, chin to chest. Get a lovely big stretch through your back. So we're going to do that again. Inhaling as you drop the tummy. Open the chest, look forward. Stretch to the front of the body. Exhale as you round through. One last cycle. Inhale as you drop the tummy. Open the chest, look forwards. Relax your shoulders away from your ears. Feel that stretch almost from your chin down to your pubic bone. And then rounding through again. So tucking the tailbone under, chin to chest. This time hug those lower ribs right in and press the mat away from you. Feels like the skin on your back is stretching through. And when you're ready, come back to a neutral position. Check your tummy hasn't just suddenly dropped though. Tailbone slightly tucked under. Take a deep breath. On the exhale, bump the hips to the left. You look over the right shoulder at your right foot. Inhale to come back. Do the same on the other side. So there's little hip bumps side to side, so tick-tock in your hips. And if you want a little bit more, you can circle around. Just find whatever feels good for you. So you're at home on your own. No one's watching. So you can get freaky with this. This is meant to be a hip release. It's really nice for lower backs. Really nice if you spent a lot of time sort of sedentary, whether you've been driving, on a flight, a cinema, whatever. Just not moving a lot in a seated position. This is really nice for releasing the tension through here. So let's have a couple of moments here. Just get freaky with it. And then when you're ready, just going to send, curl your toes under, send your right leg out long. So we're just going to stretch backwards and forwards a couple of moments here. Still got your core engaged, not forgetting about that. Maybe a little bit of pelvic floor as well. Relax the shoulders. Get a nice big stretch through the back of the leg. Then start sliding the right leg behind the left. Going as far as you comfortably can. Then really press the mat away from you with your hands as you look over your left shoulder at your right foot. Just hold it here for a few moments, breathe. And then slowly slide the leg back, and we do the same on the other side. The left leg slides out. I'm just going to stretch backwards and forwards a couple of times. Nice long neck. Tummy's engaged. Nice big stretch to the back of the leg. And then when you're ready, start sliding the left leg past the right as far as you comfortably can. Press the mat away from you as you look over your right shoulder at your left foot. And just hold it here for a few moments. Breathe. Feel that nice big stretch. And then when you're ready, slowly slide the leg back to your start position. And we're going to come onto a nice seated position. So if you have a towel or a blanket or a cushion or a block, you can use it to lift your bottom. I'm going to do a spine stretch to start with. So you've got the option of your leg positioning. So you've got your legs can be in a butterfly, it can be crossed, it can be extended, or today I'm going to offer you with your legs slightly open, so about as wide as your mat. But whichever option you've gone for, just have an adjustment. Get the fleshy bits out of the way, and you're on your sit bones. So you've got these two little bony bits of your bottom. We all have them. Please don't tell me you don't. And we're going to sit on those. And then we're going to start lengthening up from the crown of the head. So your head is going to be over your rib cage, over your pelvis. So very easy to start doing this. We're trying not to sink. Sit up and out of your hips. Now check what's going on with your chest. So chest is open, lifted. Collarbones are nice and wide. And we're going to start in a prayer position to start with. Take a deep breath. On the exhale, you're going to rotate your head, your neck, and your shoulders to the right. Inhale to come back. Exhale, we go the other way. So nice and slow. You're scanning the horizon as you go. And you can just keep lengthening from the crown of the head. So what we're working is we're mobilizing through the thoracic spine. And then I'm going to give you another option here. You bring your hands in front of you in a Cusack position. So you exhale as you rotate. Inhale to come back. If you're using this position, check we haven't done this. So relax, so almost tag a little weight into the elbows to bring the shoulders down. And keep your chin in line with your wrist bone, or if you're wearing a watch or a bracelet with one of those. And don't forget, you can also challenge yourself a little bit by taking your legs into this extended sort of open leg. And then we can try it with your arms to the side. So hands to your ears, and we rotate. Inhale. Exhale as you rotate. Inhale as you come back. Nice and slow and controlled. So we're also, apart from mobilizing the upper back, the thoracic spine, working the obliques, the muscles down the side of the body. Really nice for the spine. Get a little bit of movement. And then I'm going to show you last version. So you can change your leg position if you need to. You can have your hands to the side and we rotate. But just check you're not sinking. It's very easy to start sinking into the hips. You're sitting up and out of the hips. Shoulders are relaxed. I know this is really challenging. So we're just going to keep lengthening from the crown of the head. Remember, you can change your hand positioning. You can try whichever one you like. But go back to the one that is most comfortable for you. We're just going to do a couple more. Just check your breathing. Don't hold your breath. Check your shoulders aren't creeping up to the ears. Just going to do last two. And you're going to end up on your left side. So last one to the left. And we're going to come into a shin box position. So you're going to bring, your right foot's going to come back and your left foot is going to come forward. Now, we're going to try and keep both hip bones on the floor. Right hand comes to the floor. Left hand's going to go up and we go over. Nice side body stretch. And then we go the other way. Just do that a couple of times. Just notice what's happening with the hip. See if the right hip down. Our last one on each side. Relax your shoulders as you do that. And then we're going to go, bring the legs and swap them around. So bring left leg back, right leg forwards. So again, just set yourselves up. Just check that both your bum cheeks are on the floor. Smile. Hands going to go to the side. That really nice side body stretch. Just do that a couple of times. Just get a little bit of mobility. Notice what's happening to your hips, especially this side on the left. Seeing if it's coming up. So try and keep it down. Last one. And then when you're ready, we're going to the floor. So if you have anything for your head, little cushion, please grab it. So you can have a cushion, a blanket, a towel, whatever works for you. And we're going to set ourselves up onto the floor. So you come down, get yourselves nice and comfortable. We're going to start, So this is our resting position. Our feet are going to be together. Our knees are going to be up. Hands are by your side. Now take your heels in a small triangle. Bring your toes in line with your heels. Ankles, knees, and hips are nicely aligned. And then when you're ready, just gentle pelvic tilt. So just allowing the lower back to go flush with the mat, and then allowing it to arch back up. All I want you to do is find a middle point between these two extremes. So your back is neither flush and neither is it arched. When you find that point, just keeping it there. Now bring your shoulders right up to your ears, squeeze them back, and then gently sliding them down the mat. So create a little bit of length there. Now reminding ourselves of our core, that big wide belt of muscles that we've talked about. Draw everything in towards the midline. Going up to notch number 10 on your imaginary belt, holding it there, and then slowly, with control, you're releasing it halfway. So you're going down from maximum intensity to halfway, notch number 5, holding it. And then with control, down to notch number 3. See if you can keep it like that for the rest of the exercises. Now, pelvic floor, I'm sure you've all been doing it religiously, haven't you? So when you're ready, take a nice deep breath. Inhale. Allow the body to expand. Exhale. See if you can just squeeze and lift the pelvic floor ever so slightly. One more time, breathing in and breathing out. Squeeze and lift the pelvic floor. So when you're ready, take a nice deep breath. On the exhale, see if you can squeeze and lift your pelvic floor as you float your right leg up into tabletop. So the knee is directly above the hip and the shin is parallel with the floor. And floating it back down. So we're just going to alternate legs a couple of times. So if you want to, you can start. We maybe bring your hands to your hip bones, just giving you some feedback on what's going on with your pelvis. So we're trying to keep the pelvic stability going. So try to minimize the sway of the hips as you lift up. You're going to have to use your core. So draw everything in towards the midline to support this movement. And you just keep going. You should feel the the lower abdominals firing up now. And then, now this is your personal choice, and it depends on how your body is feeling today. If you know you've got a lower back issue, or your back is just feeling a bit niggly today, you just keep with these. If you want to give it a try, bring your right leg up into tabletop, knee directly above the hip, shin parallel with the floor. So now what we're going to bring is the lower ribs to the hips. Scoop the tailbone up and bring your left leg to join, yeah? So you're in this position. So now whilst we're here, we're just going to have a moment here. Bring your hands to your knees and then have a little play. So bring the knees in towards your chest ever so slightly. Notice what's happening to your lower back. It may go a little bit more flush with the mat, and it's probably a lot easier on your abdominals. Now start sending your knees away from your chest. Send them back a little bit. Just you'll notice what's happening. First of all, you might find your lower back is starting to arch, and you're going to maybe feel a little bit of a shake coming in from your tummy. So just keep it there. That's probably a little bit too far, and then bring your knees a little bit further in. So I want you just to find a middle point between the two extremes. So you're not super easy, back totally flush with the floor, but you're definitely not allowing the back to arch, and you should just feel those abdominals. Just be aware that they're working, yeah? When you found your right point, you'll float your right leg down, and then follow with the left. And we're going to lead with the left now. So we're just going to do this a couple of times. As you lift the second leg, remember to scoop the tailbone up. Slide your rib towards your hip, and your lower back shouldn't be arching from the floor. So I'm just going to do that a couple of times. It's really important. I know I've really laboured the point here, but really important. If you start allowing your back to arch, you're going to probably do yourself some damage. So we don't want to do that. And when you've had enough of that, make this one your last one. You're going to bring your hands, you're going to interlace them behind your head. So you just sort of create a little hammock for your head. Elbows are going to be just sort of, should just be able to see them in your peripheral vision, so they're not right flat with the floor. Take a nice deep breath. Now I want you to slowly, slightly nod your chin to the chest. Now imagine I'm just putting a very, very soft plum between your chin and your chest. So I want to maintain that gap. So you're not going to crunch your chin down to your chest. Then take another deep breath. On the exhale, then you're going to start peeling your spine from your head to your upper vertebrae, your neck, and then your upper back is going to come away from the mat. Keep the gaze up towards the ceiling. Take a deep breath, and then on the exhale, slowly releasing it all the way back down. So you're articulating through each vertebra of the spine, or the upper back, and making sure the chin is definitely not crunching down to the chest. I'm just going to do a couple more like this. So you should start feeling your upper abdominals. So the muscles right at the top, just underneath your rib cage, are going to start firing up. If you can, see if you can keep a little bit of pelvic floor awareness. See if you can squeeze and lift the pelvic floor as you exhale. And just check what's going on with your shoulders. Make sure they haven't come up to the ears, relax them down. And we're not crunching. So I often say, and I said this the other day as well, is that when I was young in the 90s and the early noughties, we used to do lots of aerobics classes where you did crunching. We don't crunch. This is a curl up. This is Pilates. It's completely different. It should feel a lot easier on the neck. And you're breathing. So you might start feeling a little bit of warmth coming into the abdominal area. And then if you want to keep with that, that's absolutely fine. If you want to add a little bit more, you can maybe float your leg up like we've just been practicing. Float the right leg up, knee directly above the hip, shin parallel with the floor, and then releasing it down at the same time. So this is also a little bit of Pilates for the brain. So alternating legs as you come up. So you now have your upper abdominals with your curl up and your lower abdominals with your knee fold. Make sure that chin is not coming towards the chest. Keep the gaze up towards the ceiling and use your breath. So you might feel a little bit of heat and a little bit of warmth, maybe a little bit of shake coming through the body. So if that's enough, keep with that. If not, you can, if you want a little bit more core, you can float one leg up the tabletop, slide your rib towards your hip, curl your tailbone under, and bring the second leg. Now check your position with your knees. So bring it a little bit closer to you or a little bit further away, whatever feels right for you. And then you can curl again. So you're just peeling each vertebra of your upper back upwards. So I want you to think of this as probably a reverse shoulder bridge. Nice and slow and controlled. If this is too much, just bring one leg or both legs down. Or maybe bring your bring your knees in towards your chest. Make sure that chin is not coming towards the chest. You're just going to do two more of whichever version suits you best. Exhaling as you come up. Take a breath and exhale as you slowly release down. This is your last one. And then slowly bring one leg down at a time. Take your arms out long, legs out long, nice full body stretch. Maybe have a little rotation through the ankles and the wrists, little clicks like I just did. And then when you're ready, very carefully, you're going to roll onto your right side. So if you had your little cushion for your head, you can bring it with me. And we're rolling onto our side. So you're going to have, you're going to have your shoulders stacked on your shoulders. Your hips are going to be on your hips. And then just look down. You should just be able to see your toes in your peripheral vision. Then bring your head back up. Bring your hand onto your hip bone. Your left hand on your hip bone. Give it a little stretch. Just create a little bit of space underneath this waist. And then when you're ready, nice and easy, start lifting and lowering. As you're doing this, you've got obviously the choice of bringing your hand to your thigh or in front of you for a little bit of support. And also check what's going on. Relax your shoulder away from your ear and make sure you've got a space between your chin and your chest. So keeping the gaze straight ahead of you. And then when you're ready, I want you to think about a tug of war going on from the fingertips here on your right to the heels of the feet. You're really stretching out through the entire body. And then imagine you're laying between two panes of glass. So your hips remain stacked and your shoulders do too. And then if you want a little bit more, you can keep with that obviously, or you can bend your right leg, just create a little bit of a little anchor for yourself. Lift the top leg, flex the foot. You may need your hand in front of you for this. Kick the leg forwards as far as you comfortably can, whilst maintaining a neutral spine, and then point the toe as you're sweeping it back. So just keep going, flexing the foot as you come forwards and pointing it as you come back. You can obviously rest in between, but check what's going on. Try to keep those hips stacked on top of each other. Check this isn't happening. Nice long neck as you're doing this. Breathe any way that feels comfortable for you. And you should be feeling, as you flex the foot, big stretch through the back of the leg. As you point it, you should get it all the way to the front. If you can, see if you can bring the leg back just slightly past your supporting leg. You just get a really nice hip flexor activation and stretch. So I'm just going to do a couple more. Also try not to collapse back into this waist. A little tiny gap between the waist. And you should be feeling all the muscles around the hip joint, your glutes, your hip flexors, your hamstrings, your quads, all firing up. Last one. Then bring your knees into your chest. Give yourselves a nice big hug. And when you're ready, you're going to roll onto your back. So if you had something behind your head, you can put it back there. And we're going to actually do the 100. I had a request for this, believe it or not. Right, so there's options, always options. Just remember that. Okay, so the first one is having your both feet on the floor. You can then bring one leg up, alternate legs, or you can have both legs. But remember what we've done, the work we've done, how we actually do those single knee folds. And you've also got the option of how you're keeping your head down the whole way through, or you can come into your curl up. So when you're ready, I want everyone just to slightly nod the chin to the chest. So just creating a tiny bit of space at the back of the neck. For those that want to, take another breath and you bring up, coming into your curl up. So remember what I just said, you're not bringing the chin to the chest like that. You're going to keep the gaze up towards the ceiling. Nice little gap. Imagine that little soft plum or piece of fruit that's here. We don't want to crush it and make it into jam. Now everyone is now going to lengthen their fingertips towards their feet. Yeah. So I'm going to start in this position and then I'm going to talk you through different variations. So you choose your start position with your legs. Take a nice deep breath. On the exhale, you're going to start beating your hands. You're doing 5 little beats as you exhale, and you're doing 5 beats as you inhale. So breathing in for 5, out for 5. You're drawing those abdominals right in, so drawing everything in towards the midline. Arms are really nice and active, and you're using the breath. Okay, please don't hold your breath for this. So breathing in for 5, and then breathing out for 5. And then if you want to, you can try and do a different variation. So try bring one leg into tabletop, breathing in for 5, out for 5. If your head is getting heavy, you can bring one hand back to give it a little bit of support. Make sure the gaze is up. So you're not looking down here. You're not crunching the back of the neck. You're breathing in for 5, out for 5. If it's too much, you can just bring the head all the way back down. Breathing in for 5, out for 5. If you've got one leg up, you're going to swap over to the other leg now. So again, holding on to the back of the neck if you need it. Breathing in for 5. Keep the gaze up. Really active arms. So lengthen the fingertips down towards your feet. Breathing in for 5. Breathing out for 5. So you should start feeling quite a lot of heat coming into the body. You feel the abdominals working. It's really good for circulation. Keep the arms beating up and down. Breathing in for 5. You've got a couple more breaths now. So if you wanted to do a little finale, you can bring both legs into tabletop. Breathing in for 5, out for 5. So not allowing the lower back to arch. Maybe reposition your knees if you're finding that's happening. And you're really engaging the abdominals, so drawing everything in towards the midline. Last breath, you may take the legs out if you want. Breathing in for 5. And then breathing out for 5. When you're ready, slowly bring one leg down at a time. Bring your head back down. Nice full body stretch. So you should really have felt those abdominals working. You should feel a little flush of energy as you start pumping the blood all the way through the body. Really nice. Apparently it's a really good thing to do when you're cold because it heats up the body, gets all the blood rushing to all the extremities. And then when you're ready, we're going to go on to our left side. And we're going to do our little side lying sequence again. So we're going to set ourselves up again. You're going to have your arm extended. If you have a towel block, blanket, whatever, you can have it between your head and your arm. Shoulders are going to be stacked on your shoulders. Your hips are on your hips. Now, if you take a little peek down, you should see your toes in your peripheral vision. Now, bring your chin up. I'm not crunching it. I'm going to reposition my microphone. Now, you can bring your hands to your right hip and give it a little stretch. So just give it a little stretch. Make sure the waist doesn't collapse down. Hand is going to be on either on your thigh or in front of you, and you're just lifting and lowering the top leg. So nice and slow and controlled. We're working all through the side of the body. So you may have noticed we work the posterior, the anterior, and now the side of the body. So just breathing through this. Check the shoulders aren't miraculously creeping up. Keep the gaze out in front of you. So you've got a little gap between your chin and your chest. And just think about a tug of war going on between your fingertips and your toes. And just think about laying between two panes of glass. So you're maintaining the stacking of the hips and the shoulders. And also notice a difference on the sides. For me, the side is so much harder. I'm wobbling like there's no tomorrow. So you might need to bring your hands in front of you for a little bit of support. And then when you're ready, you are obviously welcome to continue just lifting and lowering. If you want to go to the next level, you may bend the left leg, creating a little anchor, lift the right leg, and you're going to flex the foot as you bring it forward, and then pointing as you come back. So nice and slow and controlled. Make sure you're breathing. Relax your shoulders down. Make sure they're not creeping up to the ears. So again, as I said before, as you flex the foot, you're going to feel the stretch through the back of the body. As you point, you're going to feel it through the front. And then just check that your spine isn't coming out of an alignment. So you're going to try and keep a nice neutral spine as you're doing this. So maybe not kick the leg as far forward as you would like to. And we're just going to do 2 more. And then when you've had enough, you're going to bring your knees up into your chest. Maybe give yourself a little hug, a little whack on the bum if you need it. And we're almost finished. We just got 1 more to go. We're just going to go into our shoulder bridge. So we're going to roll onto our backs. But this time, please don't have anything behind your head. I don't want you to hurt the back of your neck. So if you had a little cushion or towel, you may place it between your knees. So we'll set ourselves up nicely. We're in our rest position. Now choose how close you want your heels to your buttocks. The closer they are, the easier it is on the hamstrings. That's my only point. So when you're ready, if you have something between your knees, squeeze it. If you haven't, imagine you have. So you just want to try and keep the knees stacking above the ankles and the hips. You're pressing into all 4 corners of your feet. You're engaging your glutes. Take a deep breath. On the exhale, from the tailbone, allow the lower back to arch. You scoop your tailbone up slightly and then start peeling your spine. So really take your time, segmentally lift each vertebra one by one away from the mat until you come onto your shoulder blades, not onto your shoulders. You've got a lovely big straight line between your knee, your hip, and your shoulder. And you're going to breathe here for a few moments. Just notice how that feels. Try to just check what's going on with the knees. Make sure they're not coming out or going in. And then bring your chest to your chin and your chin to the sky. So just opening up through the back of the neck. Take a deep breath, and then on the exhale, slowly, segmentally, allow each vertebra to melt back down. So it's your middle back, your lower back, and then your pelvis. So we're just going to do a couple more. So squeezing the glutes, pressing into all 4 corners of the feet. Tailbone leads as you peel your spine, vertebra by vertebra, and you come up into your shoulder bridge. So you've got a straight line between your knee, your hip, and your shoulder. Take a deep breath, and the exhale, slowly allow each vertebra to melt back down. You can do a couple more like that. So you're welcome to keep going with this. If not, you can try and integrate the curl up that we did a few moments ago. So I said it was a reverse shoulder bridge. So as you allow each vertebra to melt back down, you're going to start lifting your head, your neck, and your chest away, keeping the hips up. So imagine like a seesaw. As your hips lift, your head lowers. As your hips lower, your head lifts. So nice and slow and controlled. So you're just going to get a little bit of extra core with this. So you can just do 1 more if you can. That sound, by the way, is my mat creaking underneath my back. It isn't my spine. This is going to be your last one. And then slowly allow each vertebra melt back down with your pelvis. Tailbone coming down last. So bring your knees into your chest. That was a good click on my knee there. Maybe just hug your knees into your chest for a few moments. Maybe bring your nose up to your knee. So just find whatever feels good for you. Just make sure you're breathing. Maybe have a little rock side to side. Just massaging the lower back. We've just got a couple more moments together. And then maybe little circles with your knees. Just opening up through the hips. And then when you're ready, bring your left leg down, take your right leg out long. So you're going to interlace the hands behind either the calf or behind the thigh, but definitely not behind the knee. Keep a little softness to that knee, so we don't want to lock that knee out. And then just gently, use your hands to gently encourage the foot towards the body. So no forcing, no yanking. Everybody works at their own level. So just see what's going on in the rest of the body. Just see if you can just soften everything down. Just try not to create tension elsewhere. Relax your shoulders. Soften the skin on your face. And breathe. I'm just going to hold this for a few more moments. If you want to, you can see if you can flex the foot. So send the toes to your face, heel towards your ceiling, to the ceiling. And just get a little bit more intensity into that stretch. And then when you're ready, bringing the right ankle onto your left knee. If that is enough, great. Just stay here. Bring your hand to the knee and ease it away. If you need a little bit more, interlace the hands behind the left knee. Ease the leg up. And you get a nice big stretch in your buttock area. So you can do some ankle circles if you wish. You can flex and point your toes. Just find whatever feels right for you. And you can also play around with the angle of this left leg. Just have a little play. But just go through that little checklist. Make sure you haven't created tension elsewhere. So just relax your shoulders down. Soften the skin on your face. Relax your jaw and breathe. Either way, you're going to get a lovely big stretch through your right glute. And then when you're ready, start sliding along the right shin, bringing the right knee on top of the left. With your left hand, you should be able to reach for your right ankle, your right foot. With your right hand, you should be able to reach for your left knee. Very gently ease them in towards you. Just bring the knees into the chest. You should get a really big stretch in your buttocks, so your piriformis. Take a couple of moments there, breathe. It should feel really good. And then when you're ready, just release the legs down, unravel, and we're going to do the same little dance on the other side. So left leg is going to go out. Keep a little softness to that knee. Interlace a hand behind the thigh or behind the calf, but not behind the knee. And then just use the hands just to gently encourage the leg towards you. No forcing, no yanking, no cranking. So you can do some ankle circles if you want, or you can flex and point your toes. But keep that little softness to the knee. Don't let it lock out. And just take a moment here just to breathe. See if you can soften everything else out. So see if you're not... I've noticed a lot of people, they'll sort of grind their teeth or pull some amazing faces. So just see if you can just soften that down, especially around the temples and the jaw. Just relax, breathe. Maybe flex your foot a little bit more, toe to your face, heel towards the ceiling. And when you're ready, bring in the left ankle to your right knee. If that is enough, bring your left hand to the left knee, ease it away. If not, interlace your hands behind the right knee and lift the leg up. So whatever option you've gone for, you're going to get a nice big stretch in your left glute. So if you're in the upright position, you can play around with the angle of this right leg. You can maybe do some ankle circles. Maybe you can flex and point your toes. Just find any little organic movement that feels good for you. But just, again, make sure you're breathing. Let your shoulders grow heavy, as if they're melting down into the floor. Soften the skin on your face. Relax your jaw. And when you've had enough, you're going to start sliding along the left shin. So your left knee is on top of your right. With your right hand, you're going to reach for your left ankle. And with your left hand, you're going to reach for your right knee. Gently ease everything in towards the chest. You're going to get this really nice stretch in your upper buttock area, your piriformis. And just holding it for a few moments, just breathe. Just listen to the sound of your breath. Relax your shoulders. And when you're ready, you're going to unravel the legs. You're going to allow the knees to drop open. And if you can, you're going to reach through. You're going to grab hold of the outer edge of your foot if you can, or your shin. One leg at a time comes up. So the soles of the feet towards the ceiling. And maybe you can have a little rock side to side. You can keep nice and still. But just feel that really nice opening up of the hips. Breathe. Relax your shoulders. It's all good. When you're ready, bring one leg down at a time. And then very carefully, you're going to roll onto your side and come up into a nice seated position. Let's couple more moments and we'll be finished. So just come into a comfortable seat of your choice. But remember what we did when we did the last seated point. We're just trying to see if we can just lengthen from the crown of the head. You're not going to collapse into your hips. Nice neutral spine. You're going to take a nice deep breath as you bring your hands behind your bottom. And you're going to try and bring the elbows together. Squeeze the elbows together as you squeeze the shoulder blades together. The chest becomes really open and lifted. Collarbones are super wide. Slightly nod your chin. Get a really nice big stretch through your pecs. Make sure you're breathing. Just holding this for a few more moments. And then when you're ready, we're going to reverse it. Bring your hands palm on top of each other. You can interlace if you wish. Relax the shoulders down. And then slowly nod the chin to the chest. Maybe round a little bit to the upper back. Get a really nice stretch through your upper back and your neck area. Just breathe there for a few seconds. And then when you're ready, release the hands down. Now, check. We've got a nice long neck before we start this. I'm just going to drop the right ear to the right shoulder. Nice stretch down the side there. Just breathe there for a few moments. Feel that nice stretch. And then when you're ready, come back. Do the same on the other side. So just dropping the ear to the shoulder. Nice big stretch. And then when you're ready, come back. And this time we're going to look over the shoulder. Feel the stretch move slightly to the front of the neck. Come back. And we go. Make sure you're breathing. And carefully come back. You're going to bring your feet in line with your bottom. Tuck your toes under. And then obviously if you have a knee condition or knee problems, please avoid this one. But you're going to get a little stretch through the calves here. You can maybe have your hands on the floor. You maybe challenge yourself by coming into your fingertips. Maybe you can bring your hands to your knees. So you might have a little bit of a wobble, a little shake as you balance. Keep your balance. Get that really nice stretch all the way through the calves, maybe a little bit through the feet as well. And then when you're ready, bring your hands to the floor. Take a deep breath. On the exhale, you're going to press through the heels, bringing the bottom right up into the air. You're coming into a little forward fold. Bend the knees generously. And then maybe have a little sway, just like we did at the beginning. And just notice how your body is feeling now. Especially the lower back. Maybe clasp your elbows, rock side to side, shake your head yes or no. And notice how that feels. And then take a deep breath. Keep the knees soft, engage your core, and slowly restack. Really taking your time. Notice how your back, how your whole body's feeling. It's your shoulders, your neck, and your head coming up last. We're just going to finish off with a little side stretch. So taking your right leg out to the side, sweep it all the way around, and then bring the arms up. Float the arms up. We're going to grab hold of your right wrist with your left hand, soften through the legs, and then gently ease it over. So you're going to get this beautiful stretch from armpit to hip on your right side. Relax the shoulders. Make sure they haven't crept up to the ears. And then float the arms. Float back down. And we'll do the same on the other side. So send the left leg out to the side. Sweeping it all the way around. Bend the knees. And float the arms up. Relax the shoulders. Grab hold of your left wrist with your right hand. And we'll go to the side. Bump the hips to the side as well. So you just get this beautiful stretch, armpit to hip. Breathe. And then when you're ready, releasing it down. And little shoulder rolls. I hope you enjoyed that, everybody. I shall see you soon. Please give me your comments, your suggestions, email, text, phone. So look after yourselves. I'll see you soon.